Afternoon. This video documentation is in regards to the E36 chassis headlights. I understand you have the Euro version headlights, which actually have one headlight side example right here. So this video is to pretty much demonstrate the overview of the connections and pretty much which pins are for which functions. I just want to kind of rule the fact that going down from the pigtail harness to the headlights, ultimately to its bulb, to make sure that none of this have any connectivity issue or any concerns in regards to the connections. So starting with the pigtail harness, we refer this as a pigtail harness. So when you purchase the headlights, we understand that this is already pre-wired to the existing Euro connector on the headlights. So I just want to make sure that this pigtail harness has not been removed when you remove the headlights. So in the case, I actually have the pin diagram to the Euro connector for the pigtail harness, what goes to what. I can supply this to you to make sure that the correct pins have been inserted to the Euro connectors. So that's first things first. The next thing I want to touch base on the pigtail harness is to make sure that the yellow with brown wire, the gray connector, is your low beam, which is your 9006. Again, with the white with brown wire, it's going to be your high beam, which is the 9005 connector. So that's one thing I want to make sure you connect it properly and not reverse them anywhere around. The next thing is, of course, after you check the pin configuration to make sure that what I attached is correct for your pigtail harness connections. I just want to demonstrate to show you via bench testing how the wires work, because the wiring for the inside of the headlights are fairly straight. They're all analog, so there's nothing digital about them. So actually I have a 12-volt power supply on hand that mimics your car's battery. So I've kind of wired the positive and negative correctly. Right now I've actually isolated the negative pin and also the positive for the low beam pin. And as you can see, even with the low beam HID bulb outside from the low beam side, you can see the wiring, how everything works. So in a sense, what I need to do with the low beam HID bulb wires is have the positive wire pretty much fed into the positive internal low beam wire, which that should be by default. I tried to temporarily ground the negative wire onto the grounding plate on top of the projector, which I use an alligator clamp to hold it in place so it's grounded properly. So positive, negative. And now you have the HID bulb. Although it's out of the projector, I'm just demonstrating how the wiring should look like. This is a plug-and-play connection, so you should have no issues in regards to this. And ultimately, it leads down to the ballast 9006 connector. Again, I need to be very sure that when you have this connected, that the positive wire, which is the red wire, is on the inner side, which is the inner side. I refer this to the wire inner side. So negative out with no wire, positive in. So again, the ballast is polarity sensitive. Once I am ensured all the connections are proper and I got the main contact points for the positive and negative, I can boot up the PSU or the power supply just to show you that I got low beams working with no issues. So I'm starting the power right now. You can see that the low beam turns on with no issues. So again, if I am to power through the pigtail harness, I can demonstrate this for you as well. But as you can understand, it's just wiring and making sure that the proper contact is going to the proper lights. So I'll demonstrate that for you right now. So I'll remove the connections for these. Now reinsert them. So the brown wire is my grounding negative wire. That should be the one towards on my right side, which I see that so far. So let me pull these wires real quick. It's a lot easier if I have slack on them to use. Alright. So with pliers, I just want to kind of insert them properly. Alright, the grounding's negative inserted. Now I'll work with my positive. So next will be high beam, so next over will be low beam. So I'll make sure I insert this properly. I might need a tool to insert these. Alright. So I haven't wired the rest of the wire, which is the top should be the high beam, which is the white wire, and the gray should be on the bottom, which is the angelized for your case. However, I'll leave that out of the equation for now. Actually, I'll connect the high beam so that I can power the high beams to show you that the halogen high beam bulb works with no issue. So inserting the high beam connection right now. Bear with me. It's a little difficult via hand. You need a tool to push this in. Alright. So I think I have the low and high beams and the grounding negative inserted properly. I'm not going to plug in the angelized yet. Oops, the high beam just popped back out. Bear with me. There we go. Again, I'm not going to plug in the angel eye wire because right now this is not the case, or we're not focusing on this. We're only focusing on low and high beams. So I fed the wires into the Euro connector using the pigtail harness. Now I can power through this connector, 9005, 9006, which I'm going to demonstrate right now. So again, my grounding negative alligator clamp. This is my grounding negative. I'll start with the low beam. I'll ground it and make sure the positive is positive. Positive wire goes to the positive low beam. And if I wired everything correctly, as soon as I turn on the power supply, you can see the low beam come on. That's the case. So again, this is the logic. Follow your vehicle connector. I'm assuming that you have power from your vehicle connector from here, making sure polarity is correct on here. Feet down, making sure that these contact wires are good. Ultimately, you want to make sure that the grounding negative is seated on the projector well, so all the polarities and contacts are in place for the low beam. Conversely, I'm moving on to the high beam. Making sure grounding negative brown wire. Ground that. Positive. Power in. Halogen bulb is not really polarity sensitive, so either way should light up with no issues, so it's very straightforward for the inner high beam halogen light. So if I've wired this correctly, as soon as I boot on the power supply, you can see the high beam working with no issues. That's the case. So you see the high beam turning on. Again, I'm powering from via the 9005 connector from your factory wire. Feed in, goes to the pigtail. Pigtail goes to the Euro connector. Ultimately goes to the high beam bulb for the H1 size bulb for the inner housing. Again, Gary, if you can take the time to review these connections, I kind of stress it being the case that the wirings are very straightforward for the E36 headlights. Again, there has to be some type of connectivity or a polarity concern or something that is inhibiting the power to reach to these functions. So again, I stress for you to kind of check these connections. Hopefully this video shows, or it's a good demonstration to show the overview of the wiring and how everything's are connected for your car. I'll be supplying this diagram within the email message along with a video of this troubleshoot. So hopefully take the time to review. Let us know what you find. Thank you so much for your time.